What's up, Vanessa? A quick demo video for you for your Phoenix Props Jedi Killer. Just got this done today, and I will be working on your second sister saber before I send this out so that we can send both of these out at the same time. But because this one's done and I posted it, I wanted to go over this build with you real quick so you know what's going on. This installed the Proffie V2. It's installed a lot different than most of these that you'll see out there because this one has a removable chassis. This chassis was designed by Robert Sotomayor over at Sorok Sabers, and it allows for a removable battery and a 28mm speaker, which is two things that you don't normally see in this saber. Normally you'd see a recharge port and a 24mm speaker, but it's always nice to have removable battery when you can, and then of course the 28mm speaker just makes this thing loud as hell. All right, you've got CC Sabers LEDs in here for your main PCB, so you'll see those light up here in a second. Here's your crystal chamber. What you don't see in here, but you might have noticed when you had this in your hand, is inside that mesh for your crystal, there's actually two different crystals. There's a top one and a bottom one in there. So I put two accents in there. There's an accent on the top and an accent on the bottom, and they're wired in line with your blade. So it's going to mimic whatever your blade does, but it lights up this entire thing, right? So it lights up the bottom crystal and the top one. One thing that's missing from this that I explained to you earlier through messages is your switch placement right here. There is a separate little greebly that goes right here, and it goes over your switches. So you can see your switches in those switch holes right here. Your top one right there is your activation. Your bottom one is your auxiliary. That piece that I don't have, that I'm hoping that you have, has your two blue switches that fit over those tactile switches right there, and it gets glued in place. And then you could actuate them that way. I'll do the actuating today with just this little Allen key because I can reach in there and I can hit the switches. But then I also put motion controls on this guy so we can activate it. We can turn it on and turn it off without the use of switches at all. But how you get to the chassis, there's a few things. First of all, you want to take this wire and just kind of pull it out like that so it's out here. And then you can take this piece and unscrew it. And then once you get this off, this is where it gets a little tricky. Take this off and make sure we don't drop it. Put it off to the side. You can kind of see your speaker there. We need to unscrew this main assembly here where this red greebly is and everything. So I use my middle finger. I'll go in here so I can grab everything and untwist it that way. And then it'll pop off just like that. And once that pops off, you can pull this claw off like that. So you'll see your speaker here. You can take your saber and just go like this. Your chassis will fall out. You can pull your chassis right out. And then this is what your chassis looks like. So you got your Proffie board right here. Easy access to your micro USB, but you will need to lift up the board to get to your SD card. I did put a little bit of E6000 on the board to hold it in place because this chassis is so small. This is extremely cram food type of build. I mean, there's almost no room for any wires or anything. You have to have some extreme wire management to get this to work. But you got your Smuggler's Outpost 28mm speaker here, your removable battery setup. So spring side over here for the negative side of your battery. And then you've got Smuggler's Outpost Switch Pixel PCB set. So you got these 14 pins right here. And when you put this in the saber, they line up with that PCB back there that never comes out. If you can see that there. All right. So we'll throw a battery in this guy. The battery sits in there very tight, but it does fit. You hear that? That's a good sign. So what we want to do is we just take this chassis and throw it right in here all the way until it sits right there. And then we will put the claw piece back on. So you can just start the claw piece. And then we have to take our finger and we have to screw this back in. Now you're going to have some pressure on it this time because you're pushing that chassis forward. So we'll just tighten it up as far as we can until it stops. Everything's lighting up. We'll twist it off. I just like to do that to make sure those pins are making contact and everything is good. So now we can take this guy and screw it on. screw it on all the way, lock it down, and then we can take this wire and just slap your wire back in there so it's out of the way. And then that, now everything is assembled, right? So you've got swing on, and that's what I was talking about with your with your crystal chamber. So the top and bottom are lighting up, and everything looks really good. Your LEDs in there are firing up like they should. Nice smooth swing, and the saber is super loud. Now to hit auxiliary, you're going to need that button piece that I was telling you were missing, because that's what has the buttons on it to reach these tactile switches. But for now, I'm going to have to use this Allen key and hit the auxiliary. You have battle mode, so if you hit the blade or the saber, it'll initiate blade lockup. And it'll stay like that until you pull away from it. Just like that. And we'll throw a blade in the sky real quick so you can see a blade light up. This takes a 1-inch diameter neopixel blade. And you will need to tighten it down with your blade retention screw. And I'll show you where that's at. It's nice and hidden inside the frame of the saber. Your retention screw, if you can see that, is right there, right? So you got a nice unstable blade, and then you got an unstable crystal as well to match your blade. Battle mode. So you see that blade lock up right here. And like I said, it'll stay like that until you pull away from it. And then I did leave the stock sound font package on here for you. So you would hit auxiliary to go to the next sound font. Now where you've got that turquoise blade, and then of course your crystal chamber matching it. Do another one. Nice blue blade, blue crystal. This one has a nice fire blade, but you can really see it in your crystal chamber. Do another one. Just a solid red blade, solid crystal chamber. This has the blade lockup, and it's along the entire blade, so you'll actually see that lockup in your chamber as well. Turn this light off. So you see it in your blade, and then you see that happening in your chamber until you pull away from it. And we'll turn it off and take the blade out. I did leave a copy of the config that I used to set up the saber on your SD card. In case you want to build off of that, it'd be very easy to do. And then we'll go over real quick taking the battery out, right? We just want to unscrew this again. Move this wire out of the way. Come in here with our finger and unscrew this entire assembly. Pull this out, and then that chassis has the battery in it now, so it's going to have a little bit more heft. Slide right out in my hand just like that, and then come over here from the positive side of the battery, which is over here by the pins, and you can pull it out with your finger just like that. And then we'll put the chassis back in here for safekeeping. And that is basically your Jedi killer. Let me know if you got any questions. If not, like I said, I'll put this off to the side until I get the second sister saber all done for you and get a demo for that. And then I can send both of these off in the mail at the same time. All right, thanks.